He lived his own life on his own terms. He was a stubborn, driven, talented, crafty, observant, and tender young man. Gus was also vulnerable. Gus understood that many good people suffered injustice because of what they looked like or how much money they had. He saw how the cool kids who lived in the fancy neighborhoods looked down on his friends who lived in the projects and looked down on his own family who lived in an apartment and drove an old Nissan. Gus got fed up with that world. He rejected it, and he rejected being molded into a box. Probably Emma, Ian, and Carmelo know more about why he began to feel that way. When he locked himself in the garage and got his first tattoo, he began to make his rejection of the box public. He dared the world. That's when some of his friends' parents told their sons and daughters they didn't want him to hang around with Gus. He cried when he told me about that. That's when the adults at the high school began to look at him askance. He set his jaw when he told me about that. With a keen eye for injustice, Gus raised the ante. He added to his tattoo. He pierced various parts of his face. His ears, nose, lip, eyebrow. The more tattoos and piercings he got, the more he was treated like an outsider, and the more of an outsider he became. Being an outsider, a reject, hurt him. He stayed in his room, barely mustering the courage to go to the library to complete the assignments necessary to get his diploma. Years later, Gus told me that it was easy to tell the difference between the people who saw his tattoos when they looked at him and the people who saw him. Gus decided to move to California and left at 17. He tried to take classes, but few were available to an out-of-state resident. It was there that he discovered he could express his sorrow and joy and despair with his music. When he returned from California, he began to make music at our home. My mother bought him some beats and explained to me why I should take this work seriously. So he and I drove to Best Buy, and I bought him a pair of fancy red earphones. He worked and worked and worked. He made me wear earplugs at night so I wouldn't hear him, but I did hear him belting it out. He worked like that typically through the night, going to sleep when I got ready for work. If you had seen Gus walking down the street, you might have been put off, scared even. You might have thought, what a loser, or yikes, I had better cross the street. If you had known he stopped caring about school, you might have thought, what a loser, and I don't want my kid hanging around with him. He could get into some bad habits. If you had seen his filthy fingernails, you might have run away. If you had made these judgments about this teenager, about this young man struggling on his own to find meaning as a man, then I ask you to use this moment right now as a time to reflect on your actions. Ask yourself these questions. Do I really know this person? Have I sat down face to face and asked him to tell me about himself? Do I know what matters to him? Do I know what he values? What hurts him? What he loves? And why? Am I assuming this strange or scary looking person has no plans for himself? Have I asked him his plans? Am I dismissing this person because he does not match my definition of a good kid? Do I assume he does not work? Be honest. Gus was. Gus wrote a song about wanting to burn his high school down. He didn't like most of the adults there. He despised the social scene. Must everyone fit into the box? Why must we have a box? Who is this box for? Can we reinvent ourselves? Gus has left us with so much to think about and learn from. I want to thank you all for coming here today. Please do not make assumptions about people or events in ignorance. Do you understand what I'm saying? Try to step outside of your own box and open your mind to new ideas. My sweet little peeper is gone now, but he has surely left us a lot of wonderful material to review and consider. He has left me with new people to know. I am so proud of him. You have no idea.